Hello world. Welcome back to the Chinksey Sports presents the Arsenal podcast. Hey, do you know the amount of times I had to rehearse that? It's mad. But yeah, I'm back again. Listen, I was on earlier. Basically what I was doing was running through the Mikel Arteta interview with MARCA, which is a Spanish interview. Sorry, it's a Spanish newspaper magazine kind of thing. They basically held an interview with him. Don't know if it's at his house, but it looks like he's on holiday or whatnot. So they've obviously had a face-to-face interview, and I'm here to dissect the transcript. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run through what the reporters asked him. I'm gonna run through Mikel Arteta's answer, and then subsequent to that, I'm gonna give my opinion on what Arteta said, basically. So yeah, man. The reason why I've had to redo this video is because my microphone's battery ran out, which meant, well, two things. The battery ran out, and firstly, it wasn't even recording anyway. So I've obviously addressed the issue, and I am here. And without any further ado, because no one cares about all that technical stuff, I am back. Right, so yeah, obviously Mikel Arteta has done a sit-down interview with MARCA today. Here's a transcript of those questions and answers. Let's go. It was an exhausting season. What does the Arsenal manager do when on holiday? Arteta's response was, above all, it's about taking a break to disconnect from work and connect with our families. It's the only time of the year we can be with them for real. My 3 children, my wife, parents, friends. Although my children are crazy about football and in my house the ball is always rolling around. Nah, basically what he's saying is football's his life, and obviously, you get me, he's with his family. Even in the house, his kids are football crazy. They're playing football in the house. So despite the fact that he's on holiday or whatever, it's the off season. Football's still a big part of his everyday life, and he can't really get away from it. And obviously, because he has to do the transfer dealings, pre-seasons in a couple of weeks, it's not really a break. It's a full throttle kind of 24/7 thing anyway. So, which is a good thing. That's ideal, but does it work? Are you able to disconnect? I think I've just answered that already. Arteta says, in the beginning, it's hard. You come from a lot of tension, and it takes a while to lower your heart rate. The phone is still ringing, that's for sure. Because these things happen in the summer. The first week I took a bit more off, but we are now in the middle of the market, and decisions have to be made. So yeah, like I said earlier, in the first bit of the transcript, he obviously has to be immersed in the game, and obviously transfers have to be made, yeah, literally just it's a non-stop kind of thing. So obviously it's no secret that we're in for about 4 or 5 players, most notably Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Julian Timber. But yeah, I'll elaborate as further on into the video. But yeah, basically he's just effectively reiterating the fact that you can't really switch off from football, despite the fact that we're in the off season, pre-season, because obviously deals need to be made, and it's a never ending task. Have you watched any football? Arteta responds, I have watched some international football, and I have enjoyed the national team's title, but we have looked at ourselves, looking at our games, situations, trying to pick out things we need to keep and things we need to improve on, including myself. So yeah, he's basically paying homage to Spain after they won the UEFA Nations League, beating Croatia on penalties last week. So obviously he's watched that game. Obviously his native Spain, he's Spanish, probably back in Spain He looks quite tan for this video, to be fair. So he's in a hot country, whatever that is. But yeah, he's probably looking at the Arsenal players, seeing how they're getting on, especially Saka getting his first senior hat trick, which was good. So he looks like he's back to his best. But obviously, probably keeping tabs on our players going into pre-season and seeing what's going to happen, because there's going to be a lot of incomings and outgoings over the summer. So yeah. How have you rediscovered Arsenal's winning spirit in the 3.5 seasons you've been there? Yo, I'm cracking myself up. Arteta's response was, "It started 3 years ago. I was Pep's assistant at City. We were playing Arsenal and I could see that the soul of the club had been lost. There was no enjoyment, no feeling. I knew there was the option of, soon after, being the other dugout, and I knew that this club is so big that we had to connect the team with the fans. It has been so hard to do and undo, but now I feel happy. We have a clear identity. There is unity, and we are full of energy. That's the greatest thing. From top to bottom, everyone is pushing in the same direction. We give the fans something to dream about and be proud of. And now, we have to win more." No, basically. No, listen. So basically what he's saying is when he was the Man City number 2 to Pep a couple seasons back, he could kind of see that the club's soul and identity is just, the club was soulless. And he's right. When we had people like Mustafi, Socrates, Guendouzi, when we had that era was horrible. We had some awful players. But it's not even just the talent, it's just the fact that they were their heart really wasn't in it, and they were on big, long contracts, and, you know what I mean, it just was really poor. So, obviously, he had to kind of get rid of the dead wood, get them all out, bring a new kind of identity, culture to the club. I think culture is the key word in this. People like Ben White and Ramsdale coming in to just kind of replenish, reinvigorate, rejuvenate the whole team, the whole club, bring the fans together. And I feel like this season, or even the last 18 months, you could see that the fans are reconnected and everyone's pulling in the right direction, same direction. Whether that remains the case to this season, because this one's a vital season now, the expectations have increased. It remains to be seen, but I feel like one thing Arteta has done is he's kind of built the club from the bottom up, and he's got a structure there with a good core of young players with a lot of talent and scope for improvement, and also everyone's just kind of pulling in the right direction really, and there's no mercenaries. And there's a couple players from the youth team as well. And I think that's really it. Not really much more to add. What was that? The Wenger era was very long, and that created triumphs, but also entrenched defects. Were you able to detect what was wrong? Arteta says, "It was very clear to me. I drew a tree and its roots, and I said that it was our problem. We had to cure all that, and cure it with people who are involved." Basically saying what I said earlier, a minute ago, which was on long contracts, all our key players like Saliba, Martinelli, Ramsdale, Bukayo Saka, all on long-term contracts, and their best is yet to come. So, it's looking good. Right. Let's go back to last season. Was it an achievement to beat City in the Premiership? Or was it an achievement just to win it? Wait, one sec. Arteta says, "The achievement was to win it. This is Arsenal, and the standards are high. To this day, it still hurts me deep inside not to have won the Premiership after 10 months of fighting with City. But that's sport. Having said that, what we achieved with such a young team, Arsenal had the youngest squad in the Premiership, is to be applauded. That's clear to me as well. So I think the reporter's basically saying, would it have been an achievement to have beaten City, like as in beaten them in a one-off game kind of thing, or would you see it as an achievement to have got a win against City in the league, or to just have won the league no matter how you've done it, whether you've lost twice to them? We made life difficult for ourselves, especially against our direct opponent when we lost twice to them, which is giving them 6 points. And because we gave them 6 points, we didn't get 6 points. So that's a 12-point swing. I've said this before. That's giving ourselves a hell of a mountain to climb. And also, I know a lot of people will say that we bottled the league, etc., because I think there were stages where it was 6 points clear, 8 points clear, stuff like that. But people omit the fact that we had to play City twice at that stage. And there was a stage where we were points clear, but if City won every single game, which they were more than capable of doing, they would have won the league. They would have just pipped us to it, even if we won every game, apart from the direct one against City. So we could have basically lost that one and won the rest and still not won the league. So, I mean, I think City's remarkable consistency can't be sniffed at. The fact that we stayed there for so long was an achievement, but however, we don't want to get pats on the back for just competing. I feel like we need to say not winning is failure. We need to get into that mentality and kind of get into the mentality of it's either win or bust, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, what Arteta's saying is it's a young team and stuff like that, and they're a great side, but okay, I hear that, but going into next season, that excuse isn't acceptable, really. So yeah, okay. Was it missing to win? Arteta responds, a lot of... No, sorry. He says, what was missing to win? Arteta responds, a lot of things. We were penalised by those 3 draws we had in a row. Liverpool, West Ham and Southampton. And all the misfortunes that happened. 2 comebacks from 2 goals down. There were 3 or 4 injuries to important players. And from then on, everything got complicated. When we had the full team, we were consistent. As soon as problems came, it wasn't enough for us. And then our opponent was the best team in the world, the best squad in the world, the best coach in the world. We had no choice but to accept it and shake hands with the champion. So basically, he's bemoaning those 3 draws we had against West Ham, Liverpool and Southampton. I would say the West Ham and Southampton ones were unforgivable, especially, well, both of them. I don't even want to say especially, but I mean, how can you draw 3-3 at home to the team that finished bottom of the league when you're fighting for a title? That is unforgivable. Also, the West Ham and the Liverpool one, when you're 2-0 up in the first 25 minutes away from home, and you don't kill off the game, especially the West Ham one, where it was really easy, to be fair. It was like a training game, and then we let them back in. The same thing with the Liverpool, but however, the West Ham one, we had a chance to score a penalty, and unfortunately Saka missed it. His first penalty miss since the European final. That was unforgivable. When you're battling for a league, you can't be blowing things like that, but you could say it's down to the lack of experience, and do you know what I'm saying? They haven't been in that position before. So this excuse can't run next season. It can't run next season. I mean, saying that Man City have the best team and the best this and the best that is true, but we was in a position of authority, so Mad thing. Yeah, we was in a position of authority, you get me? And like, we just let it slip. It's like we let the cat out of the bag. But next season, can't run. Can't run. So I'll give him a bly. I'll give him a bly for this season. I don't even know how to respond to that. I see your message though. Yeah, I'll give him a bly for now, but next season, bruv, I want trophies, innit? For you, there is no doubt Pep is the best. Arteta says, no doubt about it. Man says Zidane. We need Mbappe and Zidane, mad. Arteta says, no doubt about it. He is the best in everything. Management, convincing the group of your idea, getting everyone on board, getting the best out of them, making decisions before and during the game, making sure that the message doesn't expire. Pep is a genius. And Xavi. Well, Declan Rice will be a good start. I think we'll get him still. I think I'm confident we'll get Rice. But no, the thing is, why is he bigging up Pep so much? Like, he's your opponent. I hear that he's your friend and that, but this is competition. We don't want to be We don't want everyone to be saying, "Oh, Pep's the best." Like, we're trying to win this thing. You know what I'm saying? I hear that he is the best, but don't you want to be the best? Anyway, do you think that City is Guardiola's best work? Arteta responds, it's not fair to compare. Every team had its brilliance, and this City is incredible because they are beautiful to watch. It is a different team, and it was adapted to the players, who are the protagonists at the end of the day. And in addition, they win titles, of course. Now, come on. Everyone knows that Barcelona team was far better than this. Not far better, but it was better than this Man City team. I think this Man City team is more, what's the word? They're like they can win in different ways. There's different ways to skin a cat. Whereas that Barcelona team, they were a specimen. They played football out of this world, man. Like, that was the best team a lot of people have ever seen in their lives, including mine. However, this Man City team is more like methodical. They're more like, they can go long if necessary. Like, people might forget, in that first half at the Emirates, we had them. We were the better team, especially, and also the FA Cup game, we had them as well. But their experience and quality kind of took over at the end, and they took the game away from us. They beat us 3 times last season, so I mean, that says all we need to know. They've beaten us 13 times in a row in the league, 13 consecutive times. That's going over like 6-7 years. So it's clear that they've got a dominance over us, which we definitely need to stop next season if we stand a chance. We can't be giving them 6 points, that's for sure. So yeah. I remember at the end of the last game against City, which we lost 4-1, I saw that you didn't greet him very warmly. Do you have a good relationship? Very good. I spoke to Pep 3 days ago. But we are both driven to win. Competitive. And when we are in a ring, we are very focused. But we are confident enough for that to happen, and the next day to call each other and give each other a hug. That's never going to go away. Yo. Nah, bruv. Hey, so yeah, no, it's good. It's good. That's what I was saying earlier. I was saying that it's all well and good giving all these props to Pep, but at the end of the day, he's your rival. You don't wanna, you know what I mean? You get me. Leave your friendship at the door, and then once you go onto the pitch, it's win at all costs. Once you leave the pitch, it's different. But I don't want to see all that shit. I don't want to see hugs and kisses. Nah, it's competitive, like he said. So he's basically saying what I was saying was that, yeah, I hear that you're close friends and you speak and all that stuff, but end of the day, you're here to win for Arsenal Football Club. They're paying your wages. We're not here to have lovey-dovey love-ins. You get me? Um, I've known you for more than 20 years, and you're not like that. You hardly ever smile on sidelines. Is there that much tension inside you? Arteta responds, I'm focused and involved in the game. I'm aware of what needs to happen on the pitch. Maybe as I get older, I'll relax more. Now, to be honest, I don't think Arteta will, I think he's that kind of driven character. Even as a player, he was like that, where he's got this desire to win. It spills onto the pitch sometimes, but that's what you want. You want like someone with that fire in his belly to kind of just win. Simple. Win, 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 win. That's what we want. In the Premiership, every game is a battle. Do you see yourself coaching for another 20 years? Arteta says, I don't know what will happen, but I enjoy my day-to-day coaching. I love my players and the environment we have created at the club. I get up very early every day and I swear I have in my stomach the desire to go to work. We have made a great group and we know what direction to go in. So yeah. He doesn't really want to give much away with regards to where he sees himself in 2 decades. I just think he wants to focus on the short term at Arsenal next season, because far ahead, and obviously he's seen and knows that. So he's kind of just trying to keep it short term and focus on the job at hand for next season. Do you see yourself winning the Premiership at some point? Arteta responds, in many moments, the team gave me arguments and we had a connection with the people. Many people believed in it. But when we started to get injuries, I felt it was going to cost us. The level of demand could not be maintained. If you want to win the Premiership against City, you have to get to April, May with all the players available and at their best. And we, because of injuries, didn't get there. So basically here he's saying that injuries cost us the league. Yeah. But I mean, you could counter that with the fact that we didn't have any injuries or any major injuries up until that point, and it's unrealistic to think that you can kind of go through the whole season without injuries. And also, interestingly, I must add, I remember, Eric Ten Hag saying that we got fortunate with not having any injuries. He said that in, I think, about January, February. And he had a point, and it proved to be our undoing towards the end of the season. So what is he saying? He's basically saying here that because we had injuries, the players that came in just weren't good enough. So people like Holding, people like Nketiah, Vieira, people like that aren't good enough. Okay, if they're not good enough, get rid of them then and buy better players. So this summer, that can't be an excuse, because you know where the holes are in the team. So it's about addressing those issues, buying the better players, improving the quality of the squad, and literally getting rid of the dead wood. Simple. You know what I'm saying? So, damn, it didn't mute. You heard me sneeze. No, it's mad. But yeah, where was I? Yeah. Damn, let me get some water, man. This is mad. I didn't know this podcasting need, Brother, let me go up some water, man. Dehydrated, bro. This talking is mad. Oh yeah. Come on, come on. Crazy, man. Crazy, 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 crazy. It's mad, it's mad, it's mad. Alright, cool, yeah. So, where was I? Freaking now, man. This podcasting thing, but I need bare water. Anyway. It was a young, inexperienced team. Arteta says, we were a good mix of experience and youth. The more experienced ones were role models for the youngsters. And then, we were lucky enough to take a generation from the academy with a lot of potential. And we were able to develop their talent so that the team has harmony. They have fun, they compete, and that will lead us to win. So obviously, I don't know about a good mix of experience and youth. We have a couple players who I would class as experienced, and then there's a couple. Obviously, the experienced ones is talking about Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey, and obviously people like El Neni milling around the club as well, Rob Holding as well. And then yeah, obviously the youngsters, Martinelli. I'll say Odegaard semi-experienced as well. And then obviously the younger ones like Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, people like that who you can class as young. And obviously he's alluding to the Haaland boys. Got a few of them like Nketiah, Reece Nelson, Bukayo Saka, and Emil Smith Rowe. So yeah, I guess so. I wouldn't say experience in youth. I'll say relative experience. Like I said, semi-experience and youth. But it's interesting because those experienced players he's alluding to, Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey, are heavily linked with moves away. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that and how many players come in if one or both of them leave. The academy jewel is Saka. If he were on the market, would he cost more than 100 million? Arteta says, I have no idea. There are the little machines where you put in all the data and variables and they give you the price. Saka is very good and very consistent. His performances and numbers at the age of 21 are crazy. He is very hungry. He wants to improve and he has an ideal environment to do it. If I had to pick one thing, it would be his ability to win games, and not many have that. Also with Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus or Odegaard. So yeah, it was obvious that Arteta's not going to put a price on Saka, but then it's also obvious that he's worth more than 100 million. Just based on the length of his contract, his potential, what he's achieved so far in his age. So yeah, of course if you're looking at players that are around his ability and age as well, people like Bellingham and whatever, Declan Rice, yeah, he's clearly gonna be in and around the 100 million mark, probably 120, 130 million, as he's got a fresh 4-year contract. So, but he's not gonna tell you that, obviously. It's ridiculous. But man said data and variables. No, not really. I don't think it's anything to do with that stuff. It's just, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about that stuff anyway. But yeah, I think it's clear that he is worth over 100 million. That's very clear, just based on those things I mentioned already. How did you make Odegaard a star? Arteta says, I think that is his merit. His self-motivation is brutal. He understands everything very well and learns quickly. We helped him by giving him responsibility and confidence by making him captain. I explained it to him. With this will come more demand and your ability to transmit what will be the key. Be you, I told him. Martin is very reserved, but when he speaks, you listen to him. He does everything that is required.
He takes care of himself. He cares and improves others. He has education, love for the game, commitment. And he believes he has to play closer to the penalty area, play less, and get there more. His numbers are very good. The inside player with the most goals in the history of the Premier League, along with Lampard. And he can still improve at the age of 24. So yeah, no, Odegaard has definitely improved in his efficiency in the final third. His decision making has improved. Obviously, still has to improve. He's got a lot of goals, non-penalty goals. I think he got 15, 14, 15 in the Premier League, which is unbelievable. And I feel like there's only De Bruyne that's better than him in his position. And there was even a point in the season where you could have said he was performing better than De Bruyne. So, yeah, Martin Odegaard is an exceptional footballer, and he's on the way to being a world-class footballer, that's for sure. I feel like we've got a couple of them knocking on the door of world-class. Saka, Odegaard. I think Martinelli's got a little bit to go. I'll put Saliba in there as well. And Thomas Partey at his best, you could also argue, is one of those two. So we've got a couple there. Not world-class, but on the cusp of becoming world-class. And on their day, probably are world-class. So yeah, Odegaard is definitely a player that's grown over the years, and I feel like he's going to get better and better. So I look forward to seeing how he performs next season as the captain with more pressure. Is Declan Rice so good that Arsenal are considering buying him for more than 100 million euros? Arteta responds, I can't talk about players who are not at the club. I prefer not to say anything. Okay, cool. So he doesn't want to obviously talk about players I can't even speak, that are not currently at our football club. Hold that thought. So, the signing of Havertz is out of the question? No, Arteta responds, talent has a price, and at Arsenal, we are always interested in young players with experience. I repeat, I am not talking about players from other clubs. But in the case of Kai, he has already shown a lot, including the Champions League. He is talented. He is a talented, versatile player. And he is only 24 years old. Okay, so remember, he's just said he can't talk about players who are not at the club. So that begs the question, is Kai Havertz at the club or not at the club? Because you're talking about him. So I can only presume he is at the club and it's just not confirmed. Because all the media outlets, all the in the nose, all the newspapers are saying that it's basically done. It's just with subject to the medical. So is that your way of saying he is an Arsenal player? Because you're talking about him. We all know that Arteta likes players that can play in multiple positions, and I'm sure during the press conference when we sign Havertz, when we unveil Havertz, you'll mention that, like you mentioned here, the fact that he is talented, versatile, and he's young. So yeah, I think he probably goes into that little category of players where they're semi-experienced. So like the mid-20s players that we have, like I mentioned earlier, like Zinchenko, Odegaard, Jesus. So Havertz will slot into there really. And he's also already won the Champions League and played in it, so he's got a lot of experience as well. And he's got Premier League experience, played almost 100 games. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be announced next week, if not later on today. Arsenal seem to be looking at a lot of Man City players. Why is that? Arteta responds, easy, because they are very good. I know them and I've coached them for 4 years. Both Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko won me over from the human side, as well as the mentality and talent they have.
So yeah, but then we tend to go for a lot of Chelsea's players as well. So how does that work out? How's that? So how do you answer that one then? Because we've signed more Chelsea players than from any other team. We've only signed two Man City players, but we're linked with quite a few of them. Like we were linked with Sterling before. We're linked with Cancelo, Gundogan as well. But it looks like he's gone to Barca. So yeah. Anyway, but okay. So from the human side, so what are you saying? So what are you saying about Havertz then? So what do you know his? Do you know how he is as a human? Or are you just looking more at his ability and more at what you think you can get out of him? Because I personally think you probably don't know much about Havertz on the human side, but you're probably looking at the fact that he's versatile, has Premier League experience, and has what's the word I'm looking for? Potential, which is a key word for Havertz. I feel like the two things with him are his potential and his versatility. So probably feel like you can unlock that and get the best from him, which Chelsea have unfortunately not managed to do thus far. This summer, there will also be money to invest. That is key. Arteta responds, we have already regenerated the squad with a very young average that will generate performance and value. We have owners who are aligned with us to build a winning team that can be sustained over time without too much investment. But the demands are increasing and we have to go to the market to find what we don't have to keep improving. So that screams Declan Rice to me. He's basically saying that, okay, the structure's there, the fundamentals are there, but to move to the next level, you got to keep improving. You got to keep spending money to keep up with the likes of Man City, which is true. But yeah, he's basically saying that there's value in the squad that we can get many years out of these players. All the young players are on long contracts and they all have scope for improvement. So, but that doesn't mean that the squad can't be improved because there's definitely areas of the starting lineup, let alone squad, that can be improved on and enhanced. So obviously we've started on that by tracking players like Rice and Timber and people like that. So I agree with what he said there. It is believed that City is the one that invests the most year after year, but that's not true. In fact, even Arsenal have been number one in spending in some seasons. What does that tell you? Arteta responds, it depends on what you evaluate. Net value or investment in 1 year, 3 years, or 10 years. Or that you also value salaries. The investment point is one, and the re-evaluation is perhaps more important. How much a player you buy is worth in so many years. There is investment with return and re-evaluation. That is our strategy to sustain ourselves. Okay, I hear that. So he's basically saying that, okay, cool. There's more to it than that. We might have been the highest spenders in a few seasons, but there's a lot of factors to take into account. The age of the player, the resale value. I hear that. And the fact that they're going to improve with us and enhance their value. So and it's true with a lot of the players that we have. There's that we've bought. If we were to sell them, we will sell them for a profit. Odegaard springs to mind. Martinelli springs to mind. Saliba springs to mind. I can go on and on and on. People like Ben White coming in, they've kind of showed that they are worth the money that we brought them for, like Ramsdale. So yeah, I hear that still. So basically, the fact that we're spending money on youth players means that they have a resale value, is basically what he's saying here. Summary. Is it possible to win a 23-24 Premiership? Arteta's response. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be sitting here.
That is our ambition. We know the difficulty. It's the best league in the world, and next season is going to be the toughest league in Premiership history. Why? It already was last year. I've been here for 22 years and I've never seen a competitive level like that. So much quality, so much organization, so many resources, so many good coaches, and now Pochettino and Iraola are coming. That's the level, and to win the Premiership, you have to be the best. That's why you have to strengthen. So basically, he's saying that he's been involved in the Premier League for 22 years, so that's as a player as well, for Everton and Arsenal, and then as a player, and then Man City and Arsenal as a coach stroke manager. So he's basically saying that it's harder and harder to compete each season, and that it's the toughest league in the world, which is true. And the fact that we're coming up against a Man City side who look impregnable, who look unstoppable, and who are spending money each season to improve their team. But not just them. There's teams like Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool. I was like, wait, there's another one there, mate. I was like, there's another one. Yeah, and Liverpool, all to kind of wrestle with towards battling at the top end of the league. It's not easy at all, and I hear that. I do think the Italian league is quite competitive, but obviously doesn't have the quality of the Premier League, and obviously most of the other leagues have only 2 or 3 teams. So I hear that. Here now we've probably got 6 or 7 where it's competitive, but then you could say, is it really competitive? Because Man City win it every year, so who knows anyway. So yeah, to win the Premiership, do you need to play well, or is that debate not in England at all? And then Arteta responds, no, there is no debate here. I want to play in the best way with the idea that we have. Some days it will be this way, some days it will be that way. But the opponent has to be subdued. The Premier League penalises you as soon as you make a mistake. Playing well here doesn't mean having it a lot. There are thousands other things you have to master. Possession is not enough. Yeah, but he says that, but then there's games where like literally you're just persistent in trying to play through teams, like possession-based football, but it doesn't work. So it's in games like, I don't know, there's examples like the Man United game where the what's it called? The tactics had to change, where we lost the first one. The Man City game where you didn't change the tactics. You're playing the same way all the time. The Everton away game. You get what I'm saying? The Nottingham Forest, I could go on. So you say that, but then there's times where you need to change it up, mix it up a bit, be more resolute, but you're doing the same thing and it doesn't work. There's different ways to skin a cat, and horses for courses, as they say. Man City switched it up at times, and no one's gonna care that they hoofed it up at the Emirates and played more physical long ball football to get the job done. No one's gonna remember that or care about that. So it's interesting he does say that, but in practice you ain't doing it. You haven't done it. So hopefully next season, in certain games where you need to change up the tactics, you can actually change up the tactics. Are you still surprised that the stadium chants your name? Arteta says, we all like to be praised and to be recognised for what we do. Above all, I want the Gunners fans to enjoy themselves and play every ball with us, to feel like they are part of the goal of winning. So that Mikel Arteta songs are tune still, but I feel like next season's gonna be a real season where it's gonna turn for the worse, or it's gonna, because at the end of the day the fans aren't gonna accept another season of not winning a trophy. I mean, there was no expectation going into this season, but next season
the expectation is going to rise. You know, the type of players we're going to bring in is going to also rise the expectation. We're back in the Champions League now. So it's going to be a real interesting season to see if the fans stick with Arteta or twist. Because I think he's been there 3-4 years now. And so it's about time we won something of note. I don't think an FA Cup will do. I think the minimum is probably a league challenge, quarter-final Champions League, and win a trophy and get as far as possible in the cups. The fans won't accept anything less. So, you know what I'm saying? They won't accept anything less than what I just mentioned. Okay. Were you offered PSG this summer? This newspaper knows for a fact that you were. Arteta responds, I can only say that I am happy at Arsenal. I feel loved, valued by our owners, Stan and Josh, the two Cronkies. And I have a lot to do here at this club. I am happy and tremendously grateful to be at Arsenal. so man's answering it like a politician. Yes, basically, you were offered the PSG job, you get me? So you're basically just saying you were off. You don't want to say you're answering it like a politician, as you do. So you was offered the job, and you basically want to finish the project here, which is fair, because I think Real Madrid and Barcelona have been they've been they've been sniffing around him as well this season, but yeah, now you got a job to do here, man. I feel like you got unfinished business here. Maybe 2 or 3 more years at Arsenal, and then yeah. Is it a coincidence that there are 4 Basque coaches in the Premier League next season? Julen Lopetegui, Unai Emery, Andoni Iraola, and you? Arteta responds, I don't think it's a coincidence. We must have some common patterns. I do not know if it is that Basque character connects well with the English, the style, the way of being, our seriousness. Bruv, I don't know what Basque coaches are able to do. No, to be fair, no, but that's a lot though. 4 from the Basque region is quite a lot. Like, I think from the Sociedad region in Spain. That's a lot out of 20. That's a lot still. I don't even think there's 4 English managers. But probably 2 of them will get sacked. I reckon that Iraola's going to get fired and probably Lopetegui's going to get fired. But no, that's interesting. I don't think there's really much to add to that. Okay, the next question. Do you get along with everyone? Arteta responds, yes. I was even teammates with Iraola and Antiguoku. What the fuck is that? Oh, at Antiguoku. I thought I had my pronunciations on point. When we were 13, 14 years old, he was a playmaker, and I was a right-sided midfielder. I already knew that Andoni wanted to go abroad, and I'm not surprised that he came to the Premier. I'm happy for him. 25 years ago, we were teammates, and now, in the Premier League. Okay, cool. So it seems like this Iraola geezer's his mate. But let's just beat Bournemouth twice, and you can go for a wine with him after the game. Just let's not be friends on the pitch. We want to win here, you know. We want to win here, mate. We don't want no lovey-dovey lovins in bruv. Listen. How did you see the best La Liga? Do you have time to watch any games? Arteta responds, of course, especially the ones at night, which are better for me. Besides, my children watch it a lot. There's always football on TV. But no, last La Liga was meaty though, bro. So I wonder who he's watching. What, like Real Madrid, Barcelona? No, do you know what? I reckon he's probably watching like scout reports. Like I think what's that right back's name that we're linked with? Obviously, there's certain players that we've been linked with in La Liga. But it's interesting that his kids watch La Liga. I didn't think there would be No, they probably watch Barca and Real. To be fair, I don't really think there's much to add to that. Yeah, coming towards the end. Jesus, I've been on almost an hour, fam. Crazy. Where was I? Where was I? Do you like Xavi Hernández? Arteta responds, I've known him since we played together at Barca. Just knowing his character and how he feels about the game, it was clear to me that Barca needed a figure like him. He has been able to withstand the pressure and has been true to his ideas, always defending the club and the players. The team has been very reliable all year. So yeah, nah. He played with Xavi at Barcelona time ago, fam. That must be in the 90s, cuz. Yeah, no, it definitely was the 90s, because he went to Rangers in like the late 90s, 2000. Then he went to Everton. Because I think Arteta did play for Barca, the youth team or something. But it's interesting because I remember when Barcelona was linked with him to become their new coach, he didn't want to kind of talk about it out of respect for Xavi, because obviously if Arteta's the new manager, that means Xavi gets sacked. So, yeah, obviously, I don't think they're mates like that though. He just probably respects him, innit? Oh, interesting. The next question. Would you coach Barcelona or Real Madrid if one day you found yourself out of Arsenal? Arteta responds, Spain is my country. I've been away for many years, and at some point, it could be an option to return to La Liga and have other experiences. But for now, dun dun dun. So yeah, for me, he's basically saying yeah, clearly. Without saying yeah, he's saying yeah. But it's just the fact that he's got a job to do at Arsenal, and out of respect for his employers, he can't really talk about that, which is fine. And obviously, the better you do at Arsenal, the more likely, well, you do well at Arsenal, you stand a chance of getting those jobs. If you don't do well at Arsenal, then you won't. It's as simple as that. So if you can bring us a title, a league title, if you can get us competitive, like ultra competitive again, then yeah, why not? In maybe 2-3 years, so be it. You can even possibly replace Xavi if he ever leaves as well. Okay, lastly, one last question. Do you think you can now recognize that you are a better coach than you were as a player? Ooh, Arteta responds, oof, that's a tough one. I've only been at this for 4 years, and my goal is to be the best in the world, but not just on a personal level, but to be the best manager in the world for Arsenal, to help these players and this club to be the best, to play better than anyone else, and to be able to win. Okay, so you seem to call Pep Guardiola the best quite a lot. You respect him a lot. So are you gonna be the best with him about or with him not about? I don't get it. So what is he saying? Are you saying that you think you can be better than Pep? And if you do manage to overhaul Pep in the league, can you do it consistently? He dominated for a period, but we've always been part of a group of 2 or 3 clubs that do dominate, if that makes sense. So in this kind of era, we're part of maybe 5 or 6 clubs that are always near the top. The previous era or two, it was us and United, and then there was a time where it was us and Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? And overall, you could say that us, Liverpool, Man United are the most successful clubs in England. That's a fact. So yeah, we've always been in and around the top clubs, but we've never been consistently the number 1 club in England. So for Arteta to say what he said there, that he wants to become the best manager in the world, yeah, it's one thing saying that, but in practicality, it's going to be a very difficult task, as he's found. And I'm sure he's well aware that it's easier saying that
than actually doing it. So